we're going to get started. Welcome to this session by Business Schools for Climate Leadership. So Business Schools for Climate Leadership is an alliance of 8 of the top business schools in Europe. It's an alliance formed by INSEAD, HSE, IESE, IMD, Cambridge, London Business Schools, and London Business School and Oxford Said. And today we're going to be discussing what is the role and the responsibility of business schools in the fight against climate change. So for the first panel, together with me, I have our deans of IMD, HSE, INSEAD, and IE. And I'm going to be co-emceeing this session with my colleague, Fernanda. My name is Concepción Galdón, and I am the Vice Dean for Business with Purpose at IE Business School. Fernanda, over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks again for joining us. Quick reminder, please keep your headphones on. If you have any issues, just go back there. The team is going to support you and help you, okay? My quick message here is, and I tend to follow a lot the Buddhist teachings, is when you listen to the session, just go back home and see how you can apply it on your own reality, okay? Let's all keep this task, go back home and see how we can continue building our leadership, our future leadership. Conchita.
Okay, so our first question to our deans today is, what makes business schools uniquely positioned to fight against climate change? What is special about us? We can maybe start with you, Eloik.
Right, hi everyone. I think we have a common DNA among the different members of the business school. It's really this idea that we are very solution oriented. So maybe if I can give an example is, how do we bring science, because there is a lot of science in business school, how do we bring science to action and really connect to the rest of the world? So if I give an example of one thing we do at HSE, we're a partner of the EU-funded Pathway to Resilience. And so activating, adaptation strategies in Europe. And what they expect from us is that we produce, standardized methodology with faculty and a comprehensive indicative framework to assess and monitor climate resilience regionally and locally in Europe. So by providing metrics, we help policymakers, we help stakeholders to really identify the effectiveness of their strategy and identify what is required to move forward. So really the idea, we connect with regional and local governments, we build capacity because we build training, resources, we disseminate knowledge, and the idea is really bring academic research to the real world. So this is something I think business schools do a lot, and among other things.
Thank you, Eloik. I want to appreciate your effort in remaining focused with the music. Well done.
We can dance. We can dance while we speak.
Exactly.
I want to move on to David. What do you think is our special power here?
Yeah, so I want to build on what Eloik said. I mean, this is such an important partnership. Business schools pride themselves on being incredibly relevant to what happens in the world, and this is the biggest challenge that confronts humanity, and so we have to be present and contribute solutions, as you said. But I think what helps us is business education by definition is multidisciplinary, and this is a systems challenge, and so we can help on metrics, as you mentioned. We can help provide information so financial markets work more effectively in pricing externalities and supporting the transition. We educate leaders and do research on how we reimagine products, make them more circular, how we transform supply chains, right? So all of these parts matter a great deal, but I'll add one piece that I think has not received enough attention, which is that sustainability is also a leadership challenge. We need leaders who think differently, who understand that what this requires is collaboration, sometimes collaboration with competitors. It means engaging with a much broader set of stakeholders. And of course, everybody who's here, certainly everybody who's behind us, who's participating in this amazing event, knows how much resilience you need to have, particularly at this moment when the policy environment in the world's largest economy is shifting against many of these important efforts. You need incredible resilience and fortitude and be able to lead with purpose. So business schools can contribute to all of those things, and I think the leadership dimension of it is perhaps the most important one.
Thank you very, very much. So we heard from David Bach, Dean of IMD Business School. Now over to Francisco from INSEAD.
Thank you. I want to build on what David just said in terms of our systemic capacity. Because one of the amazing things about business schools, and I'm sure that many of you here that went to business school is, for example, our connection to alums. This is part of the fact that we really have a multitude of stakeholders that we engage directly. We promote and support entrepreneurship. We engage and work with our alums. We have local stakeholders. So when we collectively work together to amplify that connection with the set of stakeholders that we work with, that can really amplify and drive impact. As David was mentioning, I mean, this is systemic change. It's driven by knowledge, as Eloy mentioned. And what we can do is then take that not just to the way that we train our students, but also in how we engage these different stakeholders to drive and push that change. And that's exactly what we aim to do through this partnership.
Thank you very much, Francisco. And over to Lee, the Dean of IE Business School, and most importantly, my boss. So, what do you think?
Well, thanks everyone for being here. It's a pleasure to be here. So let me also try to build on this idea of leadership that David mentioned, and this idea of impact and a broader impact, and add a little bit of the how. So I think what's really important about what we can do as business schools is train this next generation, but how? And so when you think about what we would typically do with business school students, I mean, we might give them financial accounting. They don't necessarily all become financial accountants, but it's part of their acumen, it's part of their literacy. And I think one of the things that we need to do is to make sustainable business practices, to make that mindset also part of their literacy, part of how they think and how they work. And so the idea is one idea is to embed it in everything that we do. And there are subtle ways to do that, from making sure that every syllabus that a professor has an option to include information on sustainability, which is a bit of a nudge, all the way through to some of us have full master's degrees in sustainable business practices and transformation. So, but the key is embedding, because that's the way that we're going to train leaders and have this kind of broader impact.
I can go. Okay, so now we have more and more data that shows that climate change is really here. It's the biggest crisis we're confronting. How is Business Schools for Climate Leadership specifically supporting the training of leaders, in being able to incorporate this in their decision making? Lee, we will start with you this time. What are we doing to train the future leaders?
So one thing we would love to share with you that we're doing is we have PhD student courses that we have put together as a group, as an alliance. So we have developed courses for PhD students in things like financial economics of sustainability and transformation. And we are offering these courses to anyone in the world who wants to do them, who's a doctoral student. The number of students who have done it have doubled in the last year. I think the last group was about 160 students, I think from over 30 countries, 90% of them not even from our schools. So this is kind of an open source version of PhD training courses related to climate, related to transformation. And I think we're quite proud of that, and it's working very well, and we have some plans to expand it. I know IESE is going to be hosting an academy for PhD students and mentoring, and many, many things happening that we're quite proud of.
Lee, is a free course. These are free courses.
Yes, and these are no cost.
So we have academics
open.
from all over, exactly. And if you're a PhD student, you can join these courses as well.
Yeah, absolutely. David, what else would you like to highlight?
Yeah, so we're trying to make our knowledge, our collective knowledge, not just accessible to the next generation of scholars, as Lee just spoke about, but also to current leaders and practitioners. We've put together playbooks, briefings, again, drawing on the best expertise, applied thought leadership across these 8 amazing institutions. So those playbooks are available, webinars that accompany them, that leaders and organizations can sign up to, not just our collective alumni, and that's a really powerful group across these 8 institutions, but also anyone else. And now we're working on equipping faculty at business schools all around the world to accelerate the transition by providing them with teaching materials. So all of us produce teaching materials. Many of you who've gone to business school know that the case study is one really, really important pedagogical tools. And so we're all individually producing cases, of course, on different aspects of sustainability. And so we're working on pooling some of those resources and again, making them available and making them freely available so that schools in other parts of the world, schools in Europe, schools who may not have some of the access that we have can benefit from those resources and make sure that their students get to benefit from those materials and graduate with the skills that employers are looking for to make faster progress at this critical moment.
Thank you very much, Francisco. You were there at Davos, right, before, so what are we doing in terms of external engagement with other parties?
I mean, we have those externally. I mean, that was an example in what we did with Davos. I mean, we have a variety of other engagement. I mean, one thing that I think has been quite meaningful is these meetings that we've had of alumni, right? Because that's an opportunity to learn. It's also an opportunity to create that collective action. And so when you bring the collective, ensemble of our alumni together, and we do that, and we bring the knowledge, the faculty from the different schools to share, to discuss, then you create a more empowered and a more vibrant community that you can really push forward and drive change. I mean, we're here at ChangeNOW. It's all about acting. And that's the power that we have. It's not just the current student that is going to become the next leaders, but many of our alums that are leaders now and can connect together and help push that change together. And I think that, by partnering across the schools, we're showing the example that this is something that we have to tackle as a community, and the getting the alum together is a very important symbol of what that means. Besides the practical learning that it comes with through the couple of days that we get the alumni together.
Thank you very much, Eloik. You're soon to host us, right, in one of the conferences that we organize. Tell us a little bit more about those.
Yeah, but maybe if I can add one thing, is one of the challenge we have in the business school, and I think everywhere, is how do we make sure that future leaders and our students, they speak the language? Do they understand what we're talking about? Because if you want to, call for action, you want to have solutions, you need to understand, how do you measure, what are metrics, where did it come from, what are the consequences? Otherwise, you come out with, too easy solutions. So one of the issue is speak the language. So we bring in more science in our business school because it's also about science. It's about sociology. It's about when you talk about migration and this kind of thing. The second thing that I think schools do pretty well is to build ecosystems of people with very different backgrounds. And as you said, bringing CEOs, researchers, entrepreneurs, students, NGOs to co-construct solutions, it makes a whole difference. I think one of the challenge with big meetings, like this one or the other one, is that we sit, we listen, and then we go back home, right? So to what extent can we leverage the fact of being together to work jointly on solutions, and really about action and about change? So this is one of the things we're trying to do, is bring researchers, bring entrepreneurs, bring CEOs, and co-develop solutions that are implementable, because otherwise this is a report that would stay on the shelf somewhere and not much is going to happen. So this is the kind of thing we're trying to do too.
Thank you very much.
I love what you said, Eloik, because business schools are ecosystems that are bringing diverse profiles, so we can keep on incentivizing people to ask better questions, asking different questions together, right? So let's look ahead. This question is actually as important to the deans as it is to each one of you there, which is, let's look into the future right now. And what do you believe that business schools are missing, or what do you think we're lacking really when we're developing this next generation of leaders? And each one of you, again, think of it, go back home. If you're students of our business schools or any other business schools around the world, we need you as well to ask these questions to us. So who would like to start? One sentence, be brief, and what do you think we're missing? What do you think they're lacking?
If you ask, we do question our alumni on a regular basis, and I'm really astonished. I'm really surprised every year when you ask what's top voice, what is really top of mind in your companies, in your sector, in your organization. The hot topic will change every year. every year. It's crazy how fast things move. So if we stick with this, we would like to change all the time because, at some point it's data and it's customer centricity and it's climate and now it's Gen AI. And, 2 years ago I was asking people, they all talk about climate. And last year everybody said Gen AI. And I was like, what about climate? Gen AI. And I was like, what? So we need to step back and really be careful not to follow the herd all the time and the fashionable topics. There are things that are very, very important. Now, I think really the challenge for us today is that what happens in business school, people identify opportunities, people connect the dots, they need to connect the dots. And to connect the dots, you need to speak tech, you need to speak AI, you need to speak climate, you need to speak all those, you need to speak Python. You're not going to be an amazing expert, but you need to be someone who connects the dots because, and one of the good things is, I think people in business school, they get things done. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong, but they get things done. So I think one of the challenge for us is how do we make they speak the language and they keep this DNA of being very so much solution-oriented and get things done. But we should be very careful about, all the fancy stuff that happens. There are things going to stay and climate's going to stay. So this is some of the things we need to add.
So get things done, meaning let's make progress. No, let's make progress. Let's make sure that we're getting things done, measuring, and continue and adjusting, but keep translating it.
I'd like to add to that. So, when I think about getting things done, one of the things that companies always come to business schools and say we need more of is soft skills. And I hate that term because they're not the hardest skills to learn and they're the hardest to teach. There's nothing soft about them. But I think when we think about getting things done, business graduates need to know how to mobilize people and how to make things happen in difficult workplaces, in difficult situations, and with difficult people. And whether we call that soft skills, we can call that many things. We call them impact skills, actually. But I think that's one of the things that we really need to equip even more than we do now, because we spend a lot of time doing it. But we need to equip students to do that, because to make a difference in the world, to tackle the really tough challenges of making change happen now, you need those skills, and I think that's one big thing. And then the second thing I'll mention quickly is systems thinking. We have bits of it. We probably all teach it in one way or another, but systems thinking is really critical. This is not a linear world. We're operating in systems, and we need to teach our students about systems, about exponential positive and negative loops and effects, and that's something that I think we could probably do better.
Yeah, this is kind of a system thinking as well. Our alliance is about that as well, no? Address that, yeah, advance that. Francisco.
A couple of things. One is actually the entrepreneurial part. The yin and the yang of what Lee just mentioned is that transformation happens through new ventures, through new approaches. And that's not just with existing companies and existing solutions. So a very important part of that is creating new companies and going through the entrepreneurial route. And I know that all of us are very much vested in supporting that, because we believe that that's going to be a very important avenue for that impact to really materialize. The other part is not so much about what we do internally, but how we engage, because yes, there's the entrepreneurial part, there's the system thinking, but we need to do more on how we engage with the employers to make sure that they are also looking at these things from their side. So there's no point on trying to do all these things if then the job market is not valuing them, is not bringing that to the way that they think about employment, about what they're looking for. And this is something that came out of the Davos discussion that we had, and that we're starting to do more. But there's a really important part of that engagement to work with the companies to say, hey, you really need to look at these things, because it's going to matter for you, but it's going to matter for the world, and it's important.
David.
Yeah, you asked before, Fernando, what's missing from business schools. I think what's missing is courage. It's the courage to move even faster. The urgency is apparent, and we're moving. By our standards, we may think we're moving fast, but we need to move much faster. And everything that was mentioned, I think, is relevant for this. I'll pick up on the point that Francisco made, because I think this is one area where courage is so important. We're doing a lot, if you will, on the supply side. New curriculum, new initiatives, new opportunities to connect. But the demand side is what has driven so much of our sector, right? The talent that people are looking for. And I think some of that courage, and we can do that collectively better than individually, is also to say exactly as you just said to some of the employers, listen, your CEO is talking about the importance of sustainability, but your recruiters on campus are not. Let's just eliminate that disconnect, because as much as we talk to our students about the importance of this, there is nothing that substitutes for an employer to say, wait a second, you don't have those skills, I'm sorry, we can't hire you. So let's work on that together, and it takes a little bit of courage. I think we're on a good journey, but we need to move faster.
Wow. Thank you very much to the four of you for your insights. Thank you very much for the conciseness also. And now we are going to hear from the other very important stakeholder of ours, our alumni. So thank you very much, and we're going to invite the next panel to the floor. Big hand.
Thank you. Yeah? Great. Huh?
Is it on?
It's on, yeah. I think so. Yeah, you want to do an introduction and introduce them? Yeah? But you want to do a quick introduction of the session, or are you already? Yeah? Okay, so continuing and bringing a little bit from the first session, David and Francisco were talking about the demand, right? So these are representatives of our demand. These are alumni that they've been part of our business schools, each one of them. I'm going to briefly introduce each one of them. And thank you for being here with us today. You're very important pieces of this whole ecosystem. And Flor here on my right side, she's a senior consultant in climate finance at Deloitte. And she's also a climate activist. And Fleur is an alumni from AGC Paris. So she's at home, I guess. And then we have Pavel Sanin, responsible for operational excellence strategic programs at Teva, a pharmaceutical sector. Pavel also co-leads an IMD alumni community, and he's an alumni from IMD. And we have Maria De Oca, who's the head of global sustainability at AB Enzymes, an industrial biotech company of the ABF group, Associated British Foods, sorry. And she's also a board member at IESE from the Alumni Sustainability Chapter. So we're both from IESE, both representing IESE here today. Thank you, Maria, for joining us for this session. First question I'm going to address to Anne-Fleur. Anne-Fleur, so you describe yourself as both a climate finance consultant and an activist. Which skills or mindsets do you draw on to balance the demands of corporate consulting with the passion and urgency of activism? How do these worlds complement each other? Or not, or how do they conflict with each other?
Yes, so to me, it's all about what you aim to do. But to me, it's about fighting climate change with all the tools that I can have. And so consultancy is about building stuff. I really do build things for companies in order to help them tackle those challenges. And activism is about highlighting topics that are going wrong, really about putting the media attention on things. And so it's not the same posture at all. And to me, there is no right posture. You can be an activist, you can be anything you want, really. The only thing that's important is what's the end goal, and then you can use any skill that you have in order to achieve that end goal. And to me, I'm at Extinction Rebellion, for those who know it, and I'm also at Deloitte. And I don't feel like that's something that is conflicting at all, because I'm aiming for the exact same thing when I work in both those organizations. And it's only about using different skills, and obviously also same ones like rigor and organization and the idea of bringing people together. It's actually the same idea. It's just what you're bringing to the table is different, and that's fine as long as you have the same objective and that the end goal are not conflicting with each other.
The activism is keeping you engaged on the other side as well, no? Which is driving the change as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Thank you very much, Anne-Claire. Pavel, you've worked in many different industries. Now you're in Teva, in pharma, and you are not the sustainability guy, right? Not everybody carries sustainability on their job title. And yet, Anne-Claire was saying, like, it's about the goal, right? It's about the final goal. So how can everyone here, maybe not everyone here has a job that says sustainability something, something. So how can everyone here embed sustainability in their daily jobs, whatever those are? What are the skills that would be required?
Yeah, thanks. And hi, everybody. Great to be here. And I really like your question. And I do believe that for one to be impactful at work, one doesn't need to have sustainability in a title. I've been actually sometimes it's even better not to have it as far as I'm concerned. For the last couple of years, I've been driving climate action in manufacturing and operations. Not very much involved into all reporting, which potentially very important, but potentially less interesting, less impactful things. And I think the key for success was to really understand the language of business, to be able to speak with CEOs and CFOs and GMs and understand what are their needs. Yeah. How to connect sustainability effort with the risk in supply chains, with navigating transition risk, realizing opportunities for top and bottom lines. And a lot of perseverance, because these discussions are not easy. They require humility to understand what are the needs of a counterpart, to understand the dynamics of quarterly financial reporting, which is very much required. And what was mentioned already in the previous session, it's change management. How do we engage people, how we energize, and how do we make the change pleasant? For change to happen, it needs to be pleasant. So my advice to professionals is really to reframe the question from how to get sustainability job to a question how to have impact. Be fluent in business curriculum and understand the complexity of sustainability, and soft skills, which are not hard, which are not soft skills as we heard from Lee, or impactful skills. How to drive the change while engaging everybody on the way.
So you need to speak the science of climate, but you need to speak the language of business too.
Absolutely, and we need to connect both.
Maria, you also hold this title of global head of sustainability. In your daily now dealing with building your teams, building frameworks. So share with us a little bit, what is the set of skills that you think that you need right now more than ever to be able to keep on delivering on this leadership and building these teams that are going to be tackling these big challenges?
Absolutely. So the way that I normally talk about it, what are these skills, or let's say how I summarize it or conceptualize it, is that I normally look for generalists that are business professionals in a specific area of business, right? So what do I mean by this? It could even seem a bit of a contradiction in terms, but actually what I'm talking about is, I need a person, ideally in a sustainability team that understands the industry, that understands how sustainability topics play out in the industry. I don't need an expert in, a climate scientist. That's not the right fit for a company, right? And normally, maybe in larger companies, you can, have room for this type of level of expertise in a certain scientific area. But in a company that is more streamlined, that has to respond more quickly to the demands of customers and other stakeholders, there is no, this is normally something that you would outsource, that you would bring in, via consultancy or, something of the likes, right? So a generalist that understands, the industry, that understands the business and how sustainability plays out there, that maybe has experience with another, competitor or in an industry association, right? And that has, sort of worked on the topics there. And then what is like like I said, the specialty within business, right? So I need that person, we're talking about impact skills or soft skills, essentially what I see it is a person that can that can talk the talk, of the people in the business today, right? And do that translation of what, we are being required, let's say, by stakeholders and our larger, corporates to the daily reality of the business, right? Because this person is in marketing and sales or whatever it is that their specific, job is within business. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Maria. I want to wrap up the panel by asking you a little bit a similar question to the last question that we asked to the deans, which is, again, considering your experience with us, business schools, and looking a little bit into the future, what is our most valuable, the most valuable job we could be doing, as business schools in terms of fostering climate leadership, and what is it that we should be doing better than what we're doing right now? We might go the other way around so that we mix it up a little bit. So maybe, Maria, we can start with you.
So for me, business, having studied at IESE and continuing in touch with IESE and now with the larger group of business schools here in Europe represented, is let's say it allows me for this space for reflection and for an extended, let's say, network, right? That is almost a luxury, you could say. In our day-to-day in the role of sustainability, I mean, there is a lot of work that we do, proactively, but a lot of reactive, right? And so there is, that space, to sort of take a step back and think about, okay, what is happening, and moduling, making a model out of that or conceptualizing that. That is something that I don't really have normally the time to do in my day-to-day. And that is what, professors in business schools do, and that can really support, the business professionals, doing, sustainability every day in the business. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Pavel, your take.
Yeah, I need to be careful now. Look, I think
we have thick skin.
I think we all realize that we cannot solve for the future by using solutions from the past. And we have heard from the deans that we are very much aware of that. The fact that 4 deans came to the stage, putting aside competition and finding reasons to collaborate, is absolutely inspiring example. I think we absolutely should include alumni in the solution space. And while there is a general recognition that it's a huge, the alumni base holds huge potential, I think we still can do better. I've been part of the Together alumni community for IMD for the last 3 years, and we tried many things successfully, but we still haven't cracked the issue. So we still would like to grow further our impact and unite our alumni, our community members, to drive faster with more courage, real impact. And I think this is basically my focus and the focus of my team going forward. And if everybody knows the solution or has ideas how to expedite it, I'm very happy to connect after the session and have a conversation. Thank you.
You see that he's a networker, huh? That's why he's leading the, the chapter.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
last final words of wisdom.
To me, I think a lot of efforts were put by business schools I graduated 4 years ago, and a lot has changed since then. And I'm not trying to dismiss that. It's a great thing. You mentioned having sustainability in all syllabus. That's a great first step. But to me, the next big thing, and courage was mentioned, is to also look at things that should not be taught anymore. And I'm really sorry to say that, but having a mandatory course on planetary boundaries is amazing. But then you go on to your marketing course and you taught growth techniques that actually favorize overconsumption. It's awesome to bring in alums that are actually doing stuff for the transition and to take pride in them. I mean, I'm proud of my job. I'm great to be here. But look at the alums that keep doing stuff that are putting us in that situations. There are tons of them. There are tons of them in finance, in oil and gas companies that keep doing that. And it's the skills that are still taught in business schools that are helping them do that.
Agreed.
And to me, it's also about having the courage to look at that and to say, it's not something that we should promote anymore. And it's the courage to, yes, promote good things and solutions for sustainability, to look for solutions. Honestly, Eloïc mentioned it, the skills that are taught, business schools, people get things done. And it's skills that are going to help to find solutions. And that is great. But we need to have the courage to look at things that should not be taught anymore in terms of marketing, in terms of finance. We cannot have an extra chapter at the end of a course on finance about this. we need to have it throughout the course. And it's absolutely necessary to me to also look at things like this.
Thank you very much. And
Thanks, and it flew.
yeah, I think
That's
David was
brilliant.
talking about courage before.
And courage, yeah.
And I think this is a great wrap-up because it also explains why we're together in this alliance. When we come together, I think we can have a much stronger stance in front of the world, but in front of our alumni too, about what is it that we're proud of and what is it that we stand for. And we definitely need to look into what we do and what we should not do if we're continuing to do it.
And
Thank
have the
you.
courage of each one of you
Yes.
as well, and coming and asking
Yes.
and being there, demanding as well is going to help us forge
Yes.
better what we're offering to you.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well,
Yeah.
thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you.
And we're going to move on with our last bit, hearing from the industry, from recruiters.
Thank you, guys.
Ken?
Thank you very much. Huh? Final block of our whole session, and now we want to connect business schools with the talent, and we're bringing Nadine Elaine, and she is the CSO of Veleda, which I'm pretty sure most of you guys heard of, which is a sustainable native company. And she's going to share with us a little bit the inspiring journey of the company, facing growth as well, and needing to keep on nurturing this purpose of being sustainably native in the core of what they're doing. Nadine is going to share, I think, a couple of slides, I think, just to set up the stage for the ones who do not know Veleda well, and then she's going to touch upon as well, because she's also building her teams, what is the kind of leadership that she is requiring right now, how she's building these teams, how she's building governance, and again, what is missing, what is lacking, or what we should be doing more in terms of preparing these leaders that are now going to be part of her team eventually, and also how business schools can help companies such as her company to shift to this new nature of business. Nadine, welcome to the stage.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for being here with us.
Hello, everyone, especially all the young minds who are shaping our future. So, as just mentioned, Veleda is a sustainable native, and this means that sustainability is part of our DNA. We are a company that produces natural products, natural medicine, and natural cosmetics, and most of our products are based on plants. So we also greatly rely on the planet and its resources, and we feel very responsible for it. Yes, Veleda was founded over 100 years ago, actually, in Switzerland, and since then we've come quite a long way. We are now represented in 23 countries. We're a global business. And sustainability is at the core of our business. It has always been. And so we do a lot of things really well. Just last year, we opened our Cradle campus, which is considered the most sustainable logistics campus in Europe. And this campus, for instance, is built on with wood, with timber, and with natural products as well. And when you walk into this logistics campus, it feels like you're still part of nature. So it is a way where we can showcase how nature and business can come together. Our purpose is to unfold beauty and health in harmony with nature and the human being. And this purpose is a simple purpose, but it's profound, and it has helped us grow along the way and become the company that we are today. It also showcases that business success and sustainability can go hand in hand. So next to our Cradle campus, there are also lots of other things that we do where we show that sustainability has a big part in business, such as our beautiful Veleda gardens, or in our supply chain, we work with small farmers around the globe. But, and this is also something that I have to say, we're not perfect. So last year, I've been with the company for 4 years, but last year when I took my new role as CSO at Veleda, I said, okay, so we're doing these things and we're doing lots of things well, but there are still inconsistencies. It's still not equally distributed, the effort that we do towards sustainability. And this is why we said we need a new strategy. A strategy that includes the entire company and to have sustainability integrated systemically throughout it. And I can tell you why it isn't included systemically. It is because it really depends on the people working in the different departments of the company. So those who are intrinsically motivated when it comes to sustainability and have great knowledge, they will push the topic further. But those who I call more traditional thinking, they won't. So what we did is we developed a strategy. This was actually based on a double materiality assessment, which is part of the European Reporting Directive, and we used this to our benefit because with this analysis, we just had a really great overview of our impacts, of our risks and opportunities, and we could use this to build a solid strategy that would ensure that we are sustainable along, sustainable along the entire value chain and beyond. So we did this and we defined 4 areas of, 4 strategic areas of sustainability. And the first one is biodiversity and healthy soil. And I know that my previous speakers who said a lot of great things, they mentioned the climate crisis, but I have to say the biodiversity crisis is bigger and it's coming, and it's not just coming, it's here as well. So we have to look at climate, but also at biodiversity, and those two are interlinked. And so this is a field that's very important to us because we all depend on biodiversity, but as a company with natural products, we depend on it even more. So we feel responsible for it, and we want to strengthen biodiversity. The second is environmental topics. We want to environmental stewardship, and of course, climate topics are within it. And then the third one is the development of sustainable products. And the fourth one is our employees, their well-being and diversity. And also in times where diversity programs are discontinued by many companies, we uphold ours and we have clear diversity goals set in the company that we also communicate. So all these 4 fields have clear goals, and we have an action plan and KPIs to achieve these goals. We work together with the departments to make sure that they're reachable, but that they're also ambitious. And what we also do, because it's not enough, this is just what we're going to do, but missing is the how. And for the how, we have a program that's called Sustainability Ambassadors, because we need people who are knowledgeable of sustainability in every department of the company. So they are people who are our multipliers, I would say. They are the ones who make sure that the actions are taken in their departments so we can achieve our overall goals. And what we do as sustainability department, we train them. And we train them in sustainability in general, but also specifically for their field. I give you, or their department, I give you one example. You have someone responsible in finance who does not know about sustainability. He might choose a global bank that is investing in fossil fuel. So you think, okay, because you have no knowledge of sustainability, what's the problem? It's them, it's not us doing that. But your money is lying there and it's being used for the same projects. So this knowledge is important for everybody, even when not working in sustainability. And
I was going to say, let's imagine that like we're already bringing this talent already like kind of like prepared.
Yes.
So they undergo your workshops or your academy. Let's call it Veleda Academy.
Yes.
Almost like a Veleda business school, almost. So
Yes.
we're bringing them a little bit more prepared for the stage of, okay, let's apply what you already learned to Veleda business.
Exactly.
And get into the biodiversity or environmental
Yes.
or...
And this is why it's so important for people that we hire. Those who we're working with right now, we can train, but it's really important for those that we hire that they come with this knowledge already, even when they don't work in sustainability. However, my team those who are working in sustainability. There are certain skills, and they were mentioned previously as well, that are really, really important. And the first one, I would say, is interdisciplinary skills. It's important for people working in sustainability to also have knowledge of other areas of the company or beyond. So I give you one example. I have someone in my team who just switched to my team, and he has been working in finance for a long time. And a long time ago, he studied sustainability controlling. So he is my sustainability controller, and he's a great help when it comes to all the reporting, but also for our sustainability KPI dashboard. So there are many ways I can, I'm supported by him. And I also have someone who has a background in communication, because it's really important to communicate internally and externally about the things that you do. And so this interdisciplinary skills, they are very important. Another one is the soft skills that were mentioned earlier by Lee, and I love that you called it impact skills, yes. This is very important. You have to do with all kinds of people in the company. It's from the executive board all the way to the company production, to technicians. And you have to convince all of them. You have to inspire them. You have to get them on board if you want to reach your goals. So interpersonal skills have to be trained. And then the last one I would say is project management skills, because you are involved in so many projects throughout the company to achieve these goals, and it's really important to keep track and to make sure that you reach your goals. So these three I personally find very important, and I look for them in the people that I hire for my team.
We had a conversation yesterday as well, and you mentioned how challenging it is as well when you have someone that is not on board with you when you're building your projects, and you need to do the whole governance around all different areas and departments. And you mentioned a particular moment where you realize how important it is when you have everyone at least on board on the basics, on the fundamentals of sustainability. How much it can help you advance,
yes,
or how much it can slow down things when this person is not on board, depending on the leadership position. If you don't have this person totally aligned,
yeah.
I don't know if you want to mention a little bit about it, maybe.
Yeah. Yes. It's really important that people have this knowledge of sustainability. When they don't, you have to find ways to get them on board, like finding out what it is that they need, right? But it's much harder. So it will take you a lot longer to get to that goal. But and this is something that I would like to add. When previously the previous panels were asked what's important, it's empathy. In sustainability, you also need a lot of empathy. You have to understand not everybody is, has the same training as you. They don't have the same background, and you still have to reach them. So you have to find ways to figure out what are their goals, what are their needs, and how do you get them on board. So I think empathy is another one that's very, very important. And yes, in the end, I guess we find our ways, and I personally prefer when there's knowledge already, because it's less work for me. But if there isn't, then we have to train them ourselves. And what's also important to us at Veleda is that we share our knowledge. So when it comes to sustainability, there is no competition. We saw it by the deans sitting here earlier. We also talk a lot with our competitors, where actually I talk to the responsible people in other companies doing the same thing as us, who are also responsible for sustainability, because we have to help each other out to move forward. And only together can we really make a big impact. So this is something that why we like to share what we do and how we do it. At Veleda, we have something called School of Nature. This is it's actually in our biggest and very beautiful Veleda garden in Germany. There we inform others about biodiversity and healthy soil and how you can reach that and achieve that. We inform other companies, regardless what business they're in, what industry they're in. We also inform cities, and we also inform about how to integrate sustainability in the company, how to make it a priority, and how to also do reporting and such. Because for us, it's really, really clear. The more companies and people we inspire, the more copy what we do, the better it is for the planet and its people on it.
Thank you very much.
And we talked about is the sustainable growth as well. They are growing, and they're growing. They still are able to keep the purpose within their core business, no, Conchita?
Absolutely. I think it's beautiful how this whole session has come together. And you prove the case, you know, for business skills in sustainability, for sustainability and climate being something transversal to all companies. At business schools for climate leadership and the 8 founded schools, we realize we have a role to play. We have heard it from our deans, we have heard it from our alumni, we have heard it from the incumbents in the industry, those who hire our students. We have a role to play. You have a role to play. And we all do need to play our part so that we can change now, I guess.
Yeah, and we don't have time for questions, I'm sorry, but we will be around. So if you want to network, if you want to talk to Nadine, if you want to talk to the alumni, if you want to talk to the deans, please do it. We want to hear from you, and we continue to incentivize and encourage the diversity of questions, and thank you.
Thank you very much. It was
Thank you,
such a
Business
pleasure.
Schools for Climate Leadership and all the partners.